Hey, what's up guys, JayzTwoCents here, and obviously this video is a little bit different than what you guys are used to. So if you guys were looking for some PC tech or something, you might want to go ahead and skip this one. But if you're curious about how I've been getting into shape, and by popular demand, people have been wanting to know more about my bike, then go ahead and stick around. I won't judge you or get mad either way, but I do hope you stay.
Gigabyte's Flex Display technology automatically detects and connects up to 4 displays for the best gaming experience in multi-display Ultra HD. Click the link in the description to find out more.
So over the last 3 months, you guys have been very cognizant over the fact that there has been a slimming of the J. And in fact, we are going to continue that trend. But so far in the last 3 months, I have lost over 40 pounds because of, well, this is part of it. Not all of it, but this is part of it. I had no intentions of doing any sort of a bike video on this channel, but once again, I was reminded of the fact that this is JayzTwoCents and not JayzTwoComputers or JayzTwoTech. It's about anything I want to talk about, and I do think that there is a lot of technology in what you're seeing right here. Now, by popular demand, people have asked me to please do a video about your bike, so that's what we're gonna do here today. Now, obviously, we're outside. There's a little bit of wind. You might hear some squeaking from that guy's attic vent over there. There's a guy using a power washer. So if you guys hear a lot of outdoor noises, it should be blatantly obvious why that is. Now, what I have here is become one of my absolute passions. And this little piece of technology in front of me has literally changed my life for the better over just a 3-month period. So I figured if I do a video on this, maybe it'll help some of you out, which is ultimately the goal of this channel. Now, one other thing I want to say before we get into this video is a lot of you watching may be avid cyclists yourself, very experienced cyclists, and some things that I say and show in this video might actually make you cringe. Now, this is my Trek Domane. Before you guys go and start Googling this thing to see how expensive it is, just know it is not cheap. But you should also be aware of the fact that this could get much more expensive as well. In fact, the Trek Domane 4.5, which you're looking at right here, is kind of a mid-level carbon frame bike. It could be much more expensive, upwards of $10,000. This one comes in at right around $2,600 to $2,800, depending on where you buy it. It does have a full carbon frame. It also has carbon fork on the front, which is aluminum reinforced, and of course, aluminum reinforced rear on there. In terms of the group set, it is a Shimano Ultegra group set, and it does have Shimano 105 brakes. Now, that's kind of one of the things you sacrifice a little bit when you go with more of a lower end Domane. It is a lower end Domane considering this series goes all the way up to the 7 series. I am in the 4 series, but if you stepped it up to something like a Domane 5.1, then you get the Shimano Ultegra group set with the Ultegra brakes as well. But the brakes on this thing are absolutely fantastic. It can stop a guy like me, which currently weighs 265 pounds, with no problem even going downhill with minimal braking force. Now, some of the supporting gear that's on here, which again came with the bike, is we do have Bontrager FSA handlebars on here and a Bontrager wheel set along with the Bontrager gel seat. Now, the seat is not as forgiving for a big guy like me, so it's very important that I wear cycling shorts to get as much padding on there as possible. But this bike in its carbon frame weighs only 18 pounds. This thing is extremely light. In fact, it's very noticeable how much heavier it is when I put my 2 bottles on here, as well as having my tool set in the back, which has 2 tubes, 2 16-gram CO2 cartridges, a CO2 cartridge threaded adapter for filling, as well as a patch kit and a tool kit. It can get pretty damn expensive, and I think I just hit my head on a branch. Now, one of the things that are gonna make people cringe when they see this right off the bat is the fact that I am obviously using platform pedals, and I get this all the freaking time. Jay, why aren't you using clipless pedals? Actually, what people are saying is, Jay, why aren't you using clip pedals? I wanna set something straight real quick. The pedals at which your feet lock into using a cleat are not clip-in pedals. When someone says to me, Jay, why aren't you using clips? That tells me you yourself are not necessarily an avid cyclist, because you would know that the pedals that you clip into are not actually called clip-ins, they're called clipless. Clips are actually referred to as toe clips, which are like a cage on the front where your foot slides into and you tighten it down. Those are actually kind of dangerous. So clipless pedals are the ones where your shoe actually has a cleat that clips into the pedal. I know, right? Your foot clips into it and it's called a clipless. Really, the reason why I'm not using those yet is it all comes down to confidence. And whereas I've already put about 300 miles on this bike, and I've done about 1,000 miles total so far, including my Cannondale Quick 5, which is a hybrid bike that I started on. I'm still not confident in being quick enough to be able to clip in and unclip if the event calls that I have to put my foot down quickly. And being 265 pounds, a fall off this bike could do some damage to my shoulder, my hip, break a shoulder blade, or break a collarbone. I'm not entirely looking forward to that. So I'm waiting until I lose a little bit more weight and get a little bit more confident in the saddle before I start moving to clipless pedals. But rest assured, I do feel that I'm being held back, and would definitely like to do that here in the near future. Now I do of course have a GoPro mount on here, and I've got some GoPro footage here. I like to use GoPro time lapses and things on some of my rides, but I don't do it all the time. In fact, a lot of people have asked me, Jay, why don't you do GoPro time lapse videos? The vlog channel, which I have, JayzTwoCents, actually has quite a bit of footage over there, as well as some of the weight loss stuff that's been happening on the bike. You guys can head on over there to check it out, but I've showed some footage here of what's actually one of my fastest rides, including a Strava medal ride where I took first place in a Strava segment. So you guys can see some of that. But I have taken this bike up to 47 miles per hour with a little bit of downhill help. Not a lot, but a little bit of downhill help. And the bike is very, very stable. Now the Domane line is actually not considered a speed bike. It's not considered a race bike. This is considered an endurance bike. And what that means is it's going to have a lot of things about it that are more tailored towards comfort than all-out speed. Now it is a little bit of a narrow wheel set, especially considering, or wheel span, considering the hybrid that I've been riding felt very long. So I do feel like I'm much more over the front handlebars, which is good because you get in a nice low position. I do love moving from flat bar to road bar because I've got lots of different options of where I can put my hands. And if you've ever gone on long rides, anything over, let's say 10, 15, 30, 50 miles, then you'll know if you can't move your hands around, they start to get numb, they absorb all the vibration, and it really, really sucks. So these handlebars are extremely comfortable. The grip tape I have on here has a lot of cushion to them, and I like being able to have the versatility of moving my hands around. Now shifting on this bike is very, very crisp. In fact, moving from the high gear to the low gear is very quick. And it's one of the things I love about the Ultegra group set. In fact, when I bought this bike, the dealer I bought it from told me, you know what, you don't want to scrimp on your group set. So we went ahead and went with Ultegra over the 105. But shifting on this thing has been an absolute dream. Now the wheels are very narrow. They are not treaded at all. There's no tread. In fact, they're slick. I have had about 4 flats so far, 1 in the front, 3 in the rear. And that's because when you have a lightweight tire like this with no light tire liners and a nice smooth, almost feels like a fabric, but it's kind of a roughed up rubber. It's got amazing grip. Unfortunately, in water, it can be very, very slick. Fortunately, I live in a very dry area, but it's also very thin, which means punctures on this thing are a bit of a bitch. So always have spare tubes and tools with you. I've never once been stranded on the side of the road because I've always been prepared for that. Now we're gonna get into the part where I talk about some of my personal experiences here on the bike. I've seen a lot of tweets and a lot of Facebook messages and comments of people saying, Jay, that's nice and all, but you know, I'm just too big to start riding a bike. And they tell me that they're like 250 pounds, 280 pounds, 300 pounds. Guys, when I started riding, not this bike, but when I started riding on January 26th, which was the day I bought my hybrid, I weighed 309 pounds. So I was able to ride without any problems. The bike was able to handle the weight without any problems. In fact, the dealers were like, 309 pounds isn't big. They have 400, 500 pounds guys coming in looking for bikes. So that's not the problem. The only thing you need to be aware of is the longer that you ride the bike, especially the heavier that you are, you're going to break down certain aspects of the bike. Your cables are going to stretch as you're shifting because the bike has a lot of torque on it. You're going to put a lot of stress on your chain. Mostly, you're going to end up probably going through spokes before anything else. I did break a spoke on my hybrid once, and I was constantly putting my spokes out of tension. What that means is going over bumps and things, even though I would use my knees and my elbows, there's a good gift for you. Even though I was using my knees and my elbows as suspension, it was still a big guy on a heavy bike, putting a lot of tension on the spokes, so they were constantly getting out of adjustment. That's where moving to a bike like this, even though I'm still a heavier gentleman, really came in handy because of the fact that I was able to really move into a higher end wheel set. And the reason why I got this bike was I was getting to the point to where I needed to upgrade my wheels so I wasn't constantly breaking them, but that was going to cost me $500-600 to get a good wheel set on a bike that I knew I was outgrowing. So we just went ahead and made the move to this. But When it comes to miles on this, in fact, I did 32 miles with Coconut Monkey prior to this video, so this bike right now is still a bit dirty from that ride. Chain's a little bit dirty. You know, start out slow. I mean, my first ride was 12 miles and it just about killed me. I had inner thigh cramps. I wasn't prepared for it. But you push and you push and you push and you continue to train. Now 50-mile rides are, I mean, I do them on Saturdays for the heck of it. Today we did a 32-mile ride just for the heck of it. I'm going to be doing my first Gran Fondo, which is a 100-kilometer, 62-mile ride this week. And I'm working up towards a Century ride, which is 100 miles. It's a great feeling. I feel very free on the bike. It's definitely changed my life. I mean, it's not like cycling in the gym. It really is just freedom. You're out in the sun. I've got the, you know, tan lines to prove that, you know, I've been out on this bike constantly, and it really is just a feeling unlike any other. I mean, I look forward to hopping on this bike just as much, if not more, than hopping on Skunkworks and doing cool benchmarking and games and stuff. Now, it's easier to do long rides like that too, especially on a bike like this, because even though it's a carbon frame, you would think because the bike only weighs 18 pounds that it means it's weak. It's not. It's extremely durable. In fact, they have what's called this ISO post that's built into the seat, where the seat actually is almost like a suspension in itself, where there's a little bit of flex in there because it's isolated from the rest of the frame. So when I do hit bumps and things in the road, I do actually feel some bouncing and some flex in the bike. It's a little bit scary at first because it feels like the bike is going to break or snap, but you quickly learn that that's not the case. The bike is extremely comfortable, and that's one of the things that makes it an endurance-based bike. It is a little bit squirrely though. For instance, I'm still not comfortable trying to ride this thing with no hands. When I do take one hand off the handlebar to reach for a bottle or something, it does become a little bit squirrely. So it's not as stable as I would like with one hand. And in fact, looking at some other reviews on this bike, I'm not the first person to say that. So that's just kind of a dynamic of the design of the bike. My biggest advice to anyone who's interested in getting a bike, especially for fitness, is the key to that is consistency. You can't ride a bike once a week or even twice a week for short mileage or short duration and think you're going to get any sort of results. And on top of that, it really comes down to your eating. You've got to eat proper so that you fuel your rides and you're going to get more out of it. One of my favorite channels to watch is GCN, which is the Global Cycling Network. They're hilarious guys. There's 3 guys out of England, actually 4 guys out of England that run that channel. They are freaking hilarious, some pro cyclists, and they will tell you 5 one-hour rides a week are way more beneficial than 1 5-hour ride per week. So even if you get out there and just do a half hour every single day, you're going to see results. You're going to see weight loss. I mean, as you can see, I am definitely kind of like living proof of that. I never would have gotten in front of the camera like this, full body shot, and been comfortable with that. But considering the fact that this bike has made me feel more stress-free, my heart is strong, my body is shrinking, my strength is through the roof, my endurance is through the roof. 4-hour ride, 5-hour ride is nothing. I feel like I can do more. It's just really changed every aspect of my life. So I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. A little bit different, just talking about another love and hobby of mine. I didn't even want to do this video, but this is definitely by popular demand. I have been getting, I don't know how many requests to do a video about my bike and about my cycling and about the weight loss on the main channel, not the vlog channel, to where I went ahead and decided to do it. If you guys didn't like it, that's perfectly all right too, but this video was tailored specifically to those who were asking. So there you go, guys. Make sure you guys, I highly recommend checking out the guys over at GCN. They have helped me a lot in just watching their videos. They kind of do what I do for computer noobs for biking noobs, and they teach you a lot of stuff, and they made me feel more comfortable with getting on a bike, even as a big guy, and going and losing weight and getting stronger and just getting healthier and happier. So guys, thanks for all your comments. Thanks for all the noticing of the weight loss. We're going to continue this. We've got about 40 more pounds to go. I know I'm starting to wonder where those 40 pounds are, but my trainer, he believes we got 40 more pounds to go. 265, we can get down to about 225 and be super healthy. So once again, guys, thanks for your interest in the biking and my hobby and noticing the weight loss and stuff. It means a lot. It keeps me motivated. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.